Hey, this is Jay Archer with MasterYourMan.com, and today we'll be addressing the question of how to talk to your man about sex without hurting his delicate little man ego. And in order to do that, I brought my best new friend, Kim Switnicki. She's a sex expert, a coach, and an award-winning author of books on sexuality, including the title Great Sex for Hard Times. Kim, how do women talk to their man about sex without hurting his little man ego?
Okay, well, I don't know if we can guarantee not to hurt his little man ego, but egos are important. And I think, there are a number of things to remember when it comes to communication. And this can apply to men and women. It can apply to other areas of your life, but I'm going to be targeting it specifically to a sexual conversation. There's going to be some do's and some don'ts, and maybe we can, have them listed down below or above us or whatever so people can see them. One of the things you don't want to do and you don't want to say, and probably this is directed to women because I don't think guys say this, you don't want to say, honey, we need to talk.
Oh, that is brutal. You're bang on there. You know that the pain is coming.
Oh, strikes fear into their heart.
Oh, absolutely. So good point. I love it.
Because the reality is we don't need to talk. Maybe you need to talk, but he doesn't necessarily need to talk, so it's not true.
And doesn't want to.
Well, and maybe not at that time. So you want to make sure that you don't say that. Now, you want to check when. You really want to figure out when is going to be a good time to talk. Do not have a conversation like this in the bedroom. Now, there are things that you can do, and we can get into more of that later, that you can do in the bedroom, but don't have a discussion about what went wrong, what went right, in the bedroom. Because you want your bedroom to always be like an oasis of sensual pleasure,
right,
and relaxation. You don't want to be having discussions that might get heavy, or there might be tears, or whatever's going to happen.
Right.
You don't want to have that happen.
You don't want him to associate the bedroom with any sort of discomfort or pain.
Exactly. And you don't want that for yourself either. And so you want to check in first. So honey, I have something. If you come from that I place, and you might have heard this before, if you come from an I place, it's really hard for somebody to challenge you on it because they can't challenge you on what you are saying. So if I say, Jay, I really have something I want to chat with you about, when would be a good time for that to happen? And then that way, how can he get mad at me? Can he get mad at me if I say that?
And the ball is in his court.
Yeah, the energy, if you're imagining the energy, I have it first like a ball, and then I toss it to you. And then he can say, he might say, oh, well, what do you want to talk about? And this is where you want to also practice. Practice with a friend, practice in the mirror, practice writing it down, so that you're comfortable with the words ahead of time, which I haven't done, obviously. So what you want to do is you want to say, so he's asked you, okay, what do you want to talk about? And you might say, depending what it is, something like, well, it's something that's going on between us, and it's just kind of bugging me a bit, and I just want to, have a time to just sit down and talk to you when you've got a few minutes.
So don't make it a big deal. Okay.
Regardless of what it is, doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
You don't want to make it a big deal, because otherwise what'll happen?
He'll dread it as well, or avoid it. Yeah, absolutely. Good advice.
You come into it going oh God,
yeah.
And you're not going to come into it in a good space. And you also don't want to, approach him when he's, working on his motorcycle, or he's, in the middle of a football game.
Of a sports game, no, or drinking beers. Don't do it.
Yeah. No.
Don't put your head in the lion's mouth.
Interesting. Yes, that would be very true. Very true. Even if you want to, please don't. So that's pretty much the when. And the where, it's a really good idea to have a neutral place. So don't have it in the bedroom. Maybe go for a walk. Maybe you're in the car. Cars are great. You've got to be careful it doesn't get too heavy, because then there's no escape. So you don't want to have somebody feel trapped. Cars are nice. If you're going on a long drive, I have had so many conversations with my man in a car, especially because we like road trips. So we do a lot of driving. And it's nice because you can kind of be casual, relaxed. We've got an hour. You're just going to kind of toss some things around.
Right.
It's really good that way. Or, a park, sitting somewhere, either be holding hands or be sitting close together so your legs are touching. Maybe you've got a leg on his, or a hand on his leg. You want to have it so that you have some physical contact, so that he knows that this is loving, this is caring, this isn't you're such a...
And energetically, you're both looking the same direction instead of a face-off.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is adversarial.
Yeah, for sure.
All right?
Absolutely.
That's what you do in a fight. You square off against each other, put your dukes up, let's go for it. But in a car or on a bench, a park bench or something like that, you're facing the same direction. And that's actually a great negotiation tactic as well. Try to get on the person's side. So I love that. Now, there are a lot of women that are uncomfortable talking about sex, or I should say even men for that case, in that case. Have you experienced this with your coaching?
Oh, absolutely. It's sex and money, as I've probably said before, top two reasons for divorce, and the top two things it's most difficult to talk about. And our mothers didn't sit us down and say, okay, honey, this is how you communicate about sex, or this is how you have a good time with sex, or that sex is even pleasurable and you're allowed to have it. So it's really, we grow up in a place that, in the free world, it's uncomfortable for us to talk about sex. We've got tons of blatant sexual images around, but they're not welcoming, warm, healthy, positive sorts of things. There are things that we don't want our daughters to be looking at.
Right.
So it's tricky to talk about sex. Plus, a lot of women don't know what they want exactly. They know that it's
Aha.
for them.
Yeah.
But they can't articulate what it is. So ladies, don't go to him and say, I'm not happy, you're doing it wrong. If you don't know what you can offer to them, wouldn't be the way to say it.
Well, yeah, and that would hurt his feelings. You're doing it wrong is a definite, like, flag on the play, stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And women need to understand that for crying out loud, guys are not born knowing how to please you.
Mm-mm.
They're not born knowing.
Well, some of them.
Other than Jay.
No, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. That's not true. The analogy I always use, Kim, is that men are kind of like trucks. Yeah, you can get inside them and kind of wrench them around a little bit. Women are more like these jet engines, or maybe like a Ferrari. You have to actually take a course to understand how to drive these things because they're complicated.
And each one is different. Each one is different.
Yes.
And if any woman were to be presented with 5 men and say, okay, you need to bring all these men to orgasm, chances are pretty good she could do it.
So cut him some slack. I mean, men are kind of a little bit slow on the uptake to begin with. I'm a man, so I understand. So what you're saying is cut us guys a little bit of slack here, because we know we don't know what we're doing.
I hear women all the time, Jay, saying to me, if he loved me, he would know what to do.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And that is such BS. It is so not
Right.
because every guy, if he's had more than one lover, I really feel for him, because every woman is different. He's built different. Physically, they look similar, but they're all different. They're pleasured differently. Some want it harder, some want it faster, some want it right, some want it left, some want it up, some want it down, some want it... I mean, it's crazy.
Right.
And on top of that...
But exciting.
Through the month.
Right.
Even through the month. They're different throughout their life. It's crazy. You have to have communication, and that will help you not to be faking your orgasms, which is another conversation. But guys...
We'll be talking about that one as well. Yeah,
guys
but...
don't know, and so you need to give them a break. Yeah.
And, all these different... just to put it back on men a little bit, one of the exciting things about women is that they are these wonderful, interesting creatures, and they do like it in different ways, and that kind of makes it fun. It's a bit of a challenge. I mean, obviously, if you're single. If you're in a, don't exercise that if you're in a monogamous relationship, but that makes it great. But, again, as Kim is saying, you cut these guys a little bit slack because they know that they don't know.
Yeah.
And
To admit that they don't know. They don't want to admit that they
that's
don't
right. Because that would make us look bad and look stupid, and we already know that.
Yeah.
Or for the most part, I mean,
Yeah.
So, know that when you're going into this, he's already going to be a little bit on the defensive to begin with because he doesn't know what the heck he's doing. So, Kim, you provided some really great tips about how to approach this, but definitely we encourage women to talk about sex. If you bring it up in the way that Kim suggests, using the tactics that she suggests, you're going to get a much better results than if you drop the old, what shouldn't you say, Kim?
We need to talk.
And
Don't say that.
ambush them.
I've got 2 other quick
Oh.
things for you, Jay.
Please.
One of them is set your intention, which is simply get clear with yourself, get centered, grounded, whatever it is that works for you, but get clear that this is about love, and this is about pleasure together, and this is about us being able to come together in a way that works for both of us, and this is just a sharing, loving thing. It's not, oh my God, he just doesn't know what he's doing, I've got to get him straightened out. That doesn't work.
Right.
It's energetically, you just want to get your intention set, take a breath, and just, okay, this is with a loving, caring perspective that I'm going to
That makes sense.
The other thing is when you are in bed, do you want a tip for when you're in bed and there's something happening that you don't like?
I think everybody would love to hear a tip.
And it's actually kind of simple. So you don't even have to talk about it. So let's say that your man is doing something to you. Let's say that he's, I don't know, squeezing your breast in a way. Maybe say you're just about to have your period, so they're really, really tender.
Yeah.
And so he's doing this and you're not really liking it. So if you were to say to him, well, it's a conversation he should already know that you're approaching your period because you've told him or you have a calendar or something. But anyway, if he's doing something that you're not impressed with, if you were to say to him, okay, so Jay, you're squeezing my breast. I don't really like it. So I say, Jay, you know what I love? I love it the way you squeeze my butt. It just makes me crazy. Now, what are you going to do?
Probably do that.
Exactly. You're going to be like, oh, you don't like that? Okay.
Yeah.
And respond. So you
Yeah.
do that. And I'm going to moan and I'm going to make
Yeah.
a challenge. I'm going to let him know. So you didn't have to hurt his feelings. Now, would you have picked up on what would be going through your mind, Jay?
If she's having discomfort?
Well, no. If I say to, let's say you're playing with my breast and I say, oh, I really love it when you play with my butt. Would you just squeeze it? Is there anything how are you feeling, do you think?
No, look, if you had said to me, I love it this way, do this, or just tell me to do that, look, in the heat of the moment, I'm going to do that. What do you like? Put your finger here, do that. I mean, look,
And chances are you're not going to go back to the breast, I would think.
No, and especially if you're giving me those positive cues, like, oh, you love that, put your finger here, do this, kiss me. Look, if you ask me in the heat of the moment, you ask me to dance like a chicken, I would do it. I mean, as long as it's a positive thing.
Well, yeah, and you're going to want to respond. So when he's squeezing your breast, don't moan. Don't make it sound like you like it. Just be quiet. He's going to notice. Like if you've been with a woman, Jay, where all of a sudden, so things are great, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
you go, something's not quite right here. She's reacting differently.
Yes.
And so it's good to let him know. Don't be faking it and pretending that you like it, or he's going to keep doing it. So give him a break.
Absolutely. Kim, thanks for being with us again. Great wisdom, and I love that it's coming from you. Great points about how to communicate with your man without bruising his delicate little man ego. Cut him some slack. I'm looking forward to you contributing more to Master Your Man and getting involved in discussions. If you have questions for Kim, just put them up on Master Your Man. Address them to her. She'll be there. And we're looking forward to doing some more work with you.
Cool.